Wow. I just got finished watching the X-Men Dark Phoenix trailer, and I have to say, I can't believe how much of the movie and plot they gave away in that trailer. I honestly feel that, as we all know, the trailer leaked ahead of time. So I think they hurry up and rushed out this trailer just to kind of get past bootleggish bad impressions that the leak gave. So, first and foremost, I want to tell you guys that there are possibly a lot of spoilers that are going to be in this video. So if you want to turn back now is your chance to turn back because I think I'm going to disclose a lot of things that happened in the trailer that gave away the movie, in case you missed it. So now's your chance. Here I go. First and foremost, this movie is repeating a lot of events and scenes from X-Men 3: The Last Stand. And whether you like it or not, Simon Kinberg, he very much is well invested in the storyline of the X-Men world, and he helped craft a lot of the plots and scenes that you see. And it seems like he really is really adamant about making sure that X3 storyline is told again and right, which I personally liked X3, but I know it did not resonate well with a lot of fans just because, an epic Dark Phoenix line storyline took backseat to a plot that revolved around Joss Whedon's Cure. And I can see definitely, even as someone who liked it, I could see why it left much to be desired. So, anyways, as we see a repeated scene, Charles meets young Jean and he seals away her powers at a young age because she's very difficult to control and it's for her own good. So, taken from X3, I see we're having a repeat scenario of this. And then once again, we see Jean in the lab, kind of like what you saw in X3 yet again. And only this time it seems that, from what I gather, early in the movie they go on some kind of space mission, and as we saw in the promo images, it all heads south, and Jean ends up going Dark Phoenix out there. Da 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 da. So a lot of people have speculated that it's her who dies in the film, and I don't think so for a number of reasons. As we saw in X-Men Days of Future Past, Jean is alive and well in the future in the present timeline. So that would indicate to me, since this is the last film in the Fox universe, that in order to tie this up with a bow, she has to live in order for that all the events to take place and go in continuity, even though the X films are really not great on continuity. So hopefully, as we've seen from this trailer, we're not going to go the Exorcist route with Jean. Um, yeah, in X3 they decided to scrap the Dark Phoenix and more go so for like a demonic exorcist like, depiction of her. I don't think anyone was really feeling that. So as we saw, there's more flames in Firebird, and that was kind of confirmed in X-Men Apocalypse, so we knew that was coming. But moving on, I said that I don't think it's Jean who dies. We all see like the roses, the flowers on the grave, and everyone standing above it. So as we know, Jennifer Lawrence, I mean, Mystique is not present. It's been speculated, and I really believe this. I think an incident happens, and I think Jean loses control at Genosha, which we see in the trailer. And I believe she accidentally kills Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique, or whatever. Granted, I will say I really love her, Jennifer Lawrence, when she is blue, but half this trailer, she's just playing herself again. Like, I don't know why they didn't hire a girl or an actress that would be blue and, visual to the character. I think that was a huge fail for her career. I feel a lot of her success has come from these movies. I feel that she hasn't been doing a really good job. Jennifer Lawrence has been doing a really good job maintaining her career success. That's my opinion. Debate it. This whole mutant and proud thing with her not being herself is kind of a fail, but whatever. I think Jean basically inadvertently kills Mystique in an accident, and that's whose grave we're at. And I think that also leads, as you can kind of see, the romance between Beast and Mystique for some reason. And I think that also is going to be a tipping point to why Beast is arguing with Charles, and I think that's why he defects and goes with Magneto, which was her former booty call up in the past. So like Mystique's boyfriends kind of link forces after her death. And okay, whatever. I just don't like, once again, how the Dark Phoenix plot really kind of gets, taken a back seat to bigger celebrities, and I don't really want to see Jennifer Lawrence become the spotlight. And that happens in some movies. The bigger stars like Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU, he took the whole "I built Ultron" plot when that was really, I think, Ant-Man who built Ultron, and I could see Jennifer Lawrence, being that one to steal the whole "let me be the dramatic death of this film since Jean doesn't die." And whatever. I'm just kind of glad. I'll be glad to see Jennifer Lawrence out of this role. I think she is very, very, very overrated in this role. Like I said, she's not even blue. Whatever. So I didn't really see Beast at the funeral too, and I think if he's really grief stricken, I think maybe that's when he defects with Magneto and doesn't go to the funeral. So once again, I'm kind of bothered by Beast not really being blue most of the trailer too. I'm a big fan of the comics. Beast has always been blue. I think that's part of the character's tragedy and why he kind of gravitate him. If he's just a normal person that can turn blue when he feels like it, kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. So moving on. As we saw, Genosha was prominent in the trailer. I think they talked about that in a lot of news. So it's good to see that kind of manifested, and Magneto's kind of leading that area. Um, Jean, I think Jean goes there in the trailer, if I'm not mistaken. And soon we see Jessica Chastain, who it's not clear who she's playing. I think since Emma Frost and Mastermind both are indisposed due to the X-Men timeline. I think they said Emma died or something like that. I'm not sure. And Mastermind clearly kind of comes a little later down the timeline. I think she is supposed to be something around the lines of like knockoff Emma with maybe Lady Mastermind. I think her name is Regan in the comics. Everyone suspects she's like Lilandra or a Skrull, and that's very plausible. In my mind, I'm just envisioning maybe she's actually Lady Mastermind. That seems to make the most sense to me. I just did not see any aliens in this plot. So maybe that'll come down the road. Maybe we'll see it when we're in theaters. I just don't see that. Just seems to be cramming too much in. I really wish they would have brought back Psylocke for this. I think if they needed the femme fatale psychic, I think Psylocke would have had really good motivation to really come back for revenge. Whatever. I don't even know if Psylocke's going to be in this one. From what I saw, it doesn't. She's not going to be in it. Um, Another big complaint I wanted to address, the uniforms. Wow. Every time we take one step forward in the X films, we take two steps backwards. So I grew up on Blade and the X-Men and the black leather, and don't get me wrong, it had its time and place, and it looked really cool back then. But I think in this new MCU era, comic accurate costumes, or at least trying to get close, are probably key at this point. And I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, Jinx, isn't that the Grant Morrison costumes from the comics? Yes, it is, and it can work for some characters, but Mystique never wears that costume. It does not work for Mystique, especially since last movie we got to see them in their 90s comic book kind of sort of accurate costumes, and it is the 90s, so to like take a big aspect from the that made the 90s comics so successful, the visuals and the costumes, and to strip it down to like the Grant Morrison run comics, which kind of works. It's okay. It's a letdown though to not see characters like Storm and Nightcrawler in their full-blown 90s attire. And it doesn't have to be just like, white spandex. I mean, like for Storm, I thought Nightcrawler's was pretty perfect. I think they could have honestly come back with Storm's costume from the last film, but I would have loved to see it in white or silver. Give her the big 90s hair with the volume. I think Storm is like, when I envision Storm, I want her on the brink of being like drag queen when it comes to like majesty and persona and hair and volume and just comic epicness. But we got Storm with a short hairstyle, and then she's wearing a jacket and some pants, whatever. Storm's never worn that in the comics, that costume in the comics, which really is a letdown because Storm's one of my favorite characters in all comics, and I really want to see her in her full 90s glory since the movie takes place in the 90s. It's kind of cool to see Cyclops in it, however. I think he looks really good in it. Jean also wears the costume in the comics. So I would really hope that's a costume they wear for like a space mission or something. If they wear it the whole film, I will be very disappointed. Um, and speaking of Cyclops too, he also does say Jean lost control, but she's still our friend, and that really makes me assume that she did kill Jennifer Lawrence Mystique. And once again, I'm really disappointed Jennifer Lawrence is still a focal point in this film. I don't even register her as Mystique. Mystique's not even that big of a deal in the comics to begin with. So they're really just making this up to be Jennifer Lawrence, Jennifer Lawrence, Jennifer Lawrence. Like if you really want a good Mystique, I suggest you watch X-Men Evolutions. I feel like that really nails the character down. I don't see any of that with Jennifer Lawrence. Sorry for the Jennifer Lawrence rant if you're a fan. Hated it. So tell me what you think. Oh, before I go, I think there are a few new characters put in. I think there was a very much a couple new characters. I believe some reports are saying it's Selene. Some of them are saying it's Callisto. Um, I'm not sure who the new characters are. They don't really look like any of the characters I've seen in the comics. Don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to them having new looks. I think the looks look kind of cool. They remind me of Arclight, Callisto, and Psylocke in X3. Um, and it's okay. I mean, I'm gonna have to see the full film. There's not much to go off of for many of the new characters, but we'll see. All right, let me know if you have any information or thoughts or ideas on where the plot's going or the characters. I would love to hear your opinions. Me, Jinx, signing out.